Fuck around, make my 40 pop.
Alright guys, today we have spoilers for the next 4 episodes of the Boruto anime, and they are going to be absolutely insane. A couple of things that I do have to say on my first impressions of reading through this is that the Boruto anime isn't playing. They're adapting things straight through. They're being 100% honest with us and not necessarily adding in much anime only episodes or no anime only episodes for that regard. But I'm not necessarily going to waste much of your time, so I want to give a huge shout out to Organic Dinosaur for translating these spoilers into the first one I'm going to be talking about, episode 203. The title is going to be The Raid. Now into the actual paragraph, it says, an unusual phenomenon transpires with Kawaki's karma while he is with Naruto, the Hokage, at the Uzumaki residence. Jigen, the leader of the mysterious organization referred to as Kata, has suddenly appeared before the two of them. Not only are Naruto and Kawaki astonished by this abrupt turn of events, but so is Kashin Koji, a member of the Kata who has been secretly monitoring Kawaki. Even though Jigen tries to forcibly bring Kawaki back home with them, Kawaki is reluctant to comply with Jigen's orders. When Naruto witnesses the spectacle unfolding, he then challenges Jigen to battle in order to protect Kawaki. Alright, so before I get into my reaction to this, I do want to tell you guys, episode 203 is going to be adapting chapter 36 of the Boruto manga. So if you guys do want to get a jump on it and you guys basically want to see exactly what's going to happen in this episode, chapter 36 is that. But regardless, this episode right here is going to be one of the more anticipated episodes for the manga fans out there. This episode right here, in my opinion, when it actually came to the Boruto manga, a lot of people was really happy with this, especially Jigen's overall persona. One of the funniest things that Jigen actually did do, as soon as he teleported inside of Naruto's house, he basically excused himself mainly because he had his shoes on in Naruto's living room. This episode right here is going to be absolutely huge. It's going to be the first time that we do get to see the leader of the Kata organization, Jigen, in battle, and it's going to be something new, very new from the Naruto writers. Jigen himself is the leader of the Kata organization. Usually it goes from the weakest to the strongest, and then we finally get the leader potentially at the last and at the end of everything. Right now there are still Kata members that we don't know how strong they are. For example, Kashin Koji, for example Code, for example Boro, a whole bunch of characters like that. But now we're actually going to get to see the leader of the Kata organization. Of course there is that Kawaki component as well. Now in the anime preview of this episode, they added a lot of anime only things, and I 100% won't necessarily be completely mad if we do get to see more of a Naruto versus Jigen volley, because of course in the Boruto manga they didn't necessarily show us much of that. Now the next episode is going to be episode 204. The title is going to be A Dangerous Bastard. Now into the actual paragraph, it says, Naruto has been kidnapped and taken away to another dimension because of Jigen's abilities. Uchiha Sasuke then appears in front of them, calling Jigen a dangerous bastard. Sasuke then says that him and Naruto must defeat their enemy no matter what it takes. In order to bring down Jigen, Naruto and Sasuke cooperate with one another. A fierce battle then unfolds. However, Jigen takes pride in his high-level combat capabilities. He uses incomprehensible jutsu, which forces them into a difficult situation. Meanwhile, an unusual event occurs with Boruto's own karma. Having a bad feeling about it, Boruto and Mitsuki quickly return back to Boruto's home. By the time they arrive, Naruto has already been taken away. There, Kawaki is concerned about what just happened to Naruto, and in addition, Sasuke's daughter Sarada is also present. Alright, now this episode right here is going to be the big episode. This is the episode that we have been waiting for literally years. Naruto and Sasuke versus the leader of the Kata organization, and I do not want to hype this up too much, man, because I made the mistake of that in the Naruto versus Delta battle. But if there is any episode that the Boruto manga has to bring to the Boruto anime that has to be animated damn near to perfection, it needs to be an anime like this. Some people might argue 1 or 2 chapters later on in the Boruto manga, but in my opinion, I think this right here needs to have the Momoshiki versus Naruto and Sasuke level choreography, animation, and everything. And we also even have reliable sources saying that this episode right here is supposed to be something amazing. And by the way, I got ahead of myself a little bit. This chapter right here, if you guys do want to see what happened in the Boruto manga, it is going to be adapting chapter 37 and chapter 38 of the Boruto manga. It's going to be a 2-for-1 in this episode. So there's going to be a lot of things, a lot of content, and of course a lot of action in this episode. One of the things that I'm a little bit worried about is the fact that they did bring up Boruto's karma seal in this episode. Now if you guys are anything like me, I want to see 22 straight minutes of Naruto and Jigen versus Sasuke. That is what I want to see. Now if you want to carve out a potential 30-second clip of Boruto and Mitsuki heading back to check on Kawaki, hey, by all means. But even if it's like 2 minutes, but I want majority of this episode to be what we think it's going to be. I don't want to completely overrate this. It is what it is. We did see the Delta fight. It wasn't necessarily up to par, but coming into a battle like this, even years ago when I first seen this in the Boruto manga, I personally thought this right here would possibly be like a fight of the year type of fight. It should be on the level of Momoshiki and Naruto versus Sasuke, but regardless, I don't necessarily want to spend too much time on this. I just want you guys to understand that this right here is supposed to be the episode that everybody is going to be looking forward to. But into the next episode is going to be episode 205. The title is going to be Proof. Now into the actual paragraph, it says all traces of Naruto, who is the head of the village, have disappeared. In addition, he seems to have vanished alongside the enemy, who had suddenly appeared too. With such a dire situation unfolding, the advisor of the Hokage, Shikamaru, brings along some of his subordinates to pay a visit to the Uzumaki residence. Since Shikamaru is unable to rule out that there is some potential likelihood that Kawaki is a spy for Kata, and it seems suspicious for Kawaki to have been right at Naruto's side at the time of his disappearance, he decides to question Kawaki for a while and place him under house arrest within a barrier. However, Boruto and Kawaki speak frankly about the situation at hand. They're offended by Shikamaru's attitude and refuse to comply with his orders. At that moment, Kawaki can send some chakra that connects himself to Naruto from the leftover prosthetic hand. Alright, first and foremost, this chapter right here will be adapting chapter 13-9 of the Boruto manga. This paragraph right here is definitely something that I thought should happen 100%. A lot of people are not necessarily going to like Shikamaru's character after an episode like this, mainly because we understand what exactly happened and we understand Kawaki's true feelings. But if you guys are in Shikamaru's shoes, first things first, Shikamaru didn't trust Kawaki from the rip. As soon as Kawaki basically entered the Hidden Leaf Village, Shikamaru was basically like a lot of the original manga only viewers when we first read through the series. We were saying, what is Naruto thinking having a person from the Kata organization stay in his own house? Now remind you guys, Shikamaru wasn't necessarily by Naruto and Kawaki's side while we were seeing all the character building. So Shikamaru is pretty much looking at Kawaki like an outsider, and as soon as Naruto disappears, we find out that Kawaki was in the same vicinity. So I personally think that Shikamaru is 100% justified in questioning Kawaki, and I think it's good on Boruto to basically come back and try to defend Kawaki's honor. I think this episode right here is definitely going to be a very, very good episode, and it's going to be very suspenseful, mainly because a lot of people aren't necessarily going to know the ending or what exactly is going to happen to Naruto at this particular point. Now the next episode right here is going to be episode 206. The title is going to be The New Team 7. I do want to point out a very important fact right here. If you guys are anime only viewers and you guys don't necessarily want to be exposed to the outcome of the Jigen versus Naruto and Sasuke battle, let me tell you guys right now, this is where you click off the video. But into the paragraph, it says 4 people, Boruto, Sada, Mitsuki, and Kawaki, have finally managed to arrive in the other dimension where Naruto was abducted off to. They achieved this by using time-space ninjutsu via Boruto and Kawaki's karma. Naruto has been sealed into a bowl-shaped coffin. Boro, a member of the Kata, has been keeping guard over it while it's been in his possession. In order to extricate Naruto, Boruto and his comrades go on the offensive in a succession of attacks against Boro. However, they get driven into a corner by Boro, who emits a mysterious black haze that makes them lose control over their own bodies. In order to overcome this situation, they temporarily retreat, then start to incorporate Kawaki into a 4-man team. And so the new Team 7 is formed with Sada as their leader as they embark upon their counter-offensive measures. My goodness, they can't go a solid 5 episodes without throwing shots and giving Konohamaru another L. But regardless, this episode right here is going to be one of the episodes, just like episode 204, that a lot of people have been waiting for. This episode right here, in my opinion, is pretty much what takes Team 7 to a completely brand new level. And of course, Boro having a bunch of character development leading up to this episode is a lot more than what the Boruto manga actually did for his character, and a lot more than the Boruto manga did for this specific battle right here. I don't want to say too much of this episode similar to episode 204 in fear of actually spoiling the outcome, but one thing that I definitely do want to say is that there's a possibility that they might not put a lot or dump all of the budget into episode 204, the episode with Jigen versus Naruto and Sasuke, because this episode right here, or these couple of episodes with this battle, are going to be too big. And of course, I got ahead of myself again. This chapter right here will be adapting chapter 40 of the Boruto manga. This right here is going to be absolutely insane. But let me know what you guys think about these spoilers in the comment section below, and I'm going to tell you guys right now, the stretch of these 4 episodes might be the most important stretch in the Boruto anime, period. But let me know what you guys think about this. This has been your boy Baara B, and we out.
It's a knife.